Hi, my name's Ian Wallace. I call myself the Messed Up Counsellor, which is quite an intriguing name. And the podcast you're about to see is one of many, and we've been doing about a year now. So you can look back and see all the things we've talked about with guests and on my own over the process. A lot of the information I use in the podcast initially came from the first book I wrote in 2011. Why do we do that? What do we do about it? And that came out and was the basis of all my learning, understanding at that time, which is going back a few years now. And that process of understanding how the world works for people, how we can alter, change, and adapt it, was kind of what it was there to do at the initial stages. I've made that now an audiobook as well, so it's available on Amazon as an audio file that you can check out and you can download to your heart's content, and hopefully that will be helpful. In the podcasts, we're trying to look at all sorts of things about human interactions, human dynamics, the world, and how we might understand it more or change it more. So it gives you lots of ideas and tools in order to think about and look at different ways of being or dealing with things. And hopefully that brings people together and makes people more able to connect and communicate. Lots of topics. If you ever want to connect to me, just obviously drop me a comment on the podcast and I shall try as much as possible to reply. And if you've got any ideas of things that we might want to use on the podcasts, then please let me know. My name's Ian Wallace. Thanks for looking and thanks for listening. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Ian Wallace, the Messed Up Counsellor. Today, what I'd like to look at is rigours of being the authentic you, the parts of you, the structure of you, and how you can be more you, the real you, if you like. Hi, and welcome to another edition, podcast of Ian Wallace, the Messed Up Counsellor. Today, what I'd like to look at is the rigours of being the authentic you. When I say that, what I mean is the aspects of me, you, most people, is they have many facets, many parts, many situations, scenarios take different parts and different pieces of us. So today you're seeing Ian, the Messed Up Counsellor. But that's not the whole of me, that's a part of me and a part of my world. So this part is here today working with you online, but there are other parts of me within me that aren't going to be coming out today and aren't going to be shown in this camera. So the kind of rigours of being the authentic you, how can you be as authentic as you can be, is really hard for most people. There's a film where Jim Carrey has to tell the truth. I think it's Jim Carrey. And the aspects of his world and his life where he cannot lie. And that's humorous, obviously. It's a very funny film. But also, in some senses, it's what we do. We have aspects of us that are not authentic to other people when we're interacting with them, because we don't want to show them that part of us for whatever reason. So can you ever be truly you? Is an interesting concept. And I don't know, certainly from my point of view, for me, I don't know whether or not that is something that I can be. They do say, if you look at Johari's window, which is a model, a theory model, that there's always a part of all of us that is never known by us, but is part of us. The unknown process within the Johari window example. And if you think about that, that's actually probably true, in my world anyhow. That there are things that I do, say, react to, that I even don't know why. And there'll be things that you react to that you don't know why either. And that's not unusual, as I've said. And so if we can be authentic, real, if there's all these aspects of us that are in the mix, some that we know of, some that we don't know of, can we ever be authentically us? Are we just the parts of us that we need to have, to display, to present, for whatever we're interacting with at the time? And that's an interesting concept to think about. In what part of you are you displaying now, today, in this process, when you're watching this? How many parts of you are there? How many parts of you are there? What do you do with those parts? Do all of them ever fully come out? There's always pieces of us that won't possibly be appropriate to say in certain situations with certain connections. And that part of us might be okay not to have as part of our world. It might be okay not to show it. It might be more beneficial not to show it. It might be safer not to show it because of how people might react to it or what will change in my process. So when we're engaging with people, we're always trying to assess which bits of us we show and which bits of us we let loose on the people we're talking to. And sometimes we have to hold it in and we have to take back that part of us because that part isn't appropriate or isn't the right part. So when we're engaging with other people, these are things that we're doing without even realising, to be fair. It's just a part of our development. And I think that's something that we're conditioned to do as we're growing up, to think about how we're impacting other people and to modify which parts of us we show them. And I say I don't think that's a weird process. I think that's part of keeping us safe. You know, you're not necessarily going to tell everybody about every part of you, every aspect of your makeup, every aspect of your behaviour, every aspect of your processing, because it's not needed, maybe, or it's not actually something that's helpful. So when we show these parts of ourselves and we're assessing which parts we want to show, which group of people, then I call them masks. So we have different masks for different situations, scenarios, for different connections. And whichever mask we're showing, we probably will show different masks to different people, depending on how close we are to them, maybe in our relationships, or how appropriate it is to show them. Some people move through their world, their life, keeping things hidden of themselves. And that process, when it comes into conflict with the world out there, then that's a really hard thing to contemplate, of letting that part of me out that was hidden, maybe, from maybe everybody, and allowing that part of me to be known, to be understood by people connected to me. So we kind of find groups of people that have similar parts so that we can let that part out. We can have that as part of our world, but in specific places. So we would be that person in that area. And when we move away from that group, then we would lock that part of us away again and wait until the next time we connected to that group. And so we're always adapting ourselves in some senses as to what we do show and how authentic we can be. Now, even in those groups where we let those pieces of us out and that might not be shared with other people, then the other parts of us in that group probably won't be shared. There might be a common theme that we are showing or we are connecting to. That's a feature of us. But when we move away from that group, then we might then, as I've said, not show that group the other parts of us. So we're always getting these identities, these masks, these parts of ourselves, and where we feel comfortable in letting them out and displaying them and interacting with others who have similar parts. Sounds a bit complicated, I know, and I probably rambled on a bit about it. But if you can kind of move yourself into a position where you can think about all these different parts that we have and you can recognize them, and some, as I've said, with Jahara's window, you probably won't know, then at least you've got some control over it instead of just ambling around with it. You can define it differently. You can move into places and spaces where those parts are helpful. You might find that you want to let some more people into the parts that you previously haven't let them into, and see if they accept you, see if they accept those parts of you. You might not. But if you understand the different parts of you, the different masks, as I call them, then at least you have choices. At least you know yourself more fully. And you can maybe play with those parts, maybe, find those connections, those people, those groups, where those parts can be allowed out and allowed as part of your world. I think that's normal for most people. I don't think everybody sees everything. I think some things we keep to ourselves, some things we don't know about ourselves, so obviously we keep to ourselves. But understanding it and thinking about it and trying to work it out might help you in what you do with your world and your life. Hopefully that's been interesting, and if you've liked it, please like and share. The podcasts are helpful, people tell me, and they enjoy them. So the more people who can connect to the process, the more the messages get out there, and the more people hopefully can understand the world and human beings a bit better. My name's Ian Wallace. I'm the Messed Up Counsellor. Take care. Hi, thanks for listening to the podcast, and hopefully it made sense and was interesting for you. Please subscribe, like and share. With the podcasts, you never know who will be helped by the things we talk about, things we share. We don't normally tell people our problems, but by sharing it and helping other people to understand things. The book Insecurity, It's All About Me, is also available now through Amazon, and it gives you an understanding of what drives insecurity, how insecurity works within our human dynamics, and how you can get a much more secure connection with people. It gives you lots of ideas and thoughts, which is really good. So thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, share, hit the button, and if you've got any comments, please give me them, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks very much. Take care.